Hi, and welcome to Journey into Wholeness. My name is Margot McFarlane, and I'm the owner of Journey Through Life Yoga and Wellness. We are filming our practice today from Burning Wheel Yoga Studio in Medfield. So today is going to be a 30-minute chair yoga practice, and we're going to spend all of the time in the chair this morning. We'll be moving through all of the major areas of the body, engaging in very gentle movement to cultivate a little bit of strength, some flexibility, and body awareness. In yoga, we talk a lot about breath, and the idea is we want to link our movement with our breath. So I'll cue that throughout the practice, but if it doesn't feel right in your body, don't worry about the breathing. Just kind of breathe as you own. I'd rather that you focus on your movement and kind of get that, learn that first, and the breathing will come later. The second element, so there's the strength, flexibility, the breathing, and the mindfulness aspect. So it's really paying attention to how your body feels as you're moving. And my guideline is if anything doesn't feel right, don't do it, right? So you can feel free to make modifications whenever you need to, follow along as best you can, take breaks when you need it, and take breaks and watch. And if you're new to chair yoga, you may need to watch a good amount of the practice, and you'll be able to play this over and over again, or see it again, so that you can, you'll become familiar with the movements as we go along. And if something that I'm doing up here doesn't feel right and you're not feeling like you're getting it, make something up. As long as you're breathing, as long as you're moving, and that you're enjoying yourself, you're practicing yoga. I also wanted to talk about, make sure that you're in a stable chair, right? Ideally with a flat bottom that's not too cushy, just because it's easier to maintain your posture when you have something solid underneath, and that there's plenty of height for your back, so that when you sit back in the chair that you're supported as high as you can. Mid-back or shoulders is fine. And you want to have something that doesn't have arms. So hopefully you'll be able to find something like that accessible to your house, but use whatever you have. Now let's begin. So I'm going to have you sit all the way back in your chair. So scoot your bum all the way back to this back of the seat, and just let your spine relax into the back of the chair. Good. Feet are underneath your knees, so that you can be aware of your feet on the ground. Right? Hands resting softly in your lap. And if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes for this beginning part of our practice, where we're just going to do a little bit of breathing and get grounded. So if it's comfortable to close your eyes, let them close. And if it's not comfortable for you to close your eyes, just feel free to gaze down at the ground in front of you, or you can just gaze at your hands as they rest comfortably on your lap. Good. So we always start with breath. So take a big, deep breath through your nose, filling your lungs all the way to the top. And a gentle open mouth exhale, just to let the breath move through and out. And then just take an easy breath and an easy breath out. And then again, big slow breath, breathing all the way up from the soles of your feet, through your body, all the way up to the crown of your head. And then exhaling it all the way back out. And then just another easy breath. And easy breath out. Good. Then you might choose to take a hand and place it over your heart and another hand over your belly, just so you can now start to tap into just your own natural rhythm of breath. So letting your belly soften, letting the spaciousness across the chest, your heart space, be wide open. And then you find this beautiful breath that you have that gives you exactly what you need every time you breathe in, and it takes away what you no longer need every time you breathe out. So just tapping into your own rhythm here. And as you start to familiarize yourself with your breath, just moving into the awareness of your body, the soles of your feet on the ground, how your hips and your back are supported by the chair. And then a sense that with that support from the earth and from the chair, that you can really rise up through the crown of your head. And so together we'll take another big deep breath. Again, like you're breathing up from the soles of your feet. Breathe in all the way to the top of the lungs, even beyond and up to the crown of your head. And then exhaling all the way back out. Good, and just let your hands come back in your lap. And if you've had your eyes closed, right, very slowly open up your eyes. Good, and then just a moment to get your bearings. Good. So I'm gonna have you scooch a little bit forward in your chair, right? And just one other point. So as you move in your chair, every time you shift position, just give a double check that if you lean forward that your chair is not gonna tip over or you're not gonna fall forward. So you always wanna make sure that you have enough to sit on and that your feet feel comfortably planted against the ground, right? All right, we're gonna start with our shoulders. So just start to give your shoulders nice little roll up, back, and down. Good. Just loosening, nice and easy. And the circles don't have to be all that big. And let's just go to the left side, just so you can pay some attention and then maybe move that circle a little bit wider out. And then let's move to the right side. Nice, easy circles. And trying your best to keep your hands relaxed. Right? Keep your face muscles relaxed. And then still feeling your feet on the ground. Good. And then both hands back in your lap, palms toward your thighs. And then just take a moment, another big breath in through your nose. And out from your mouth, let it go. Good. Let's work a little bit on your wrists. So you're going to take your palms and just tuck your thumbs inside of your palms very gently. It's not a tight grip. And try to keep your elbows in towards your ribs and just moving your hands around your wrist. All right, so nice slow circles. We use our hands, we rely on our hands so much. So this is an opportunity to really develop some awareness. Okay, and then circle in the other direction. Good. And then we're gonna let the fingers go. So release the fingers, and you're still gonna spin your wrists around in circles, but imagine that your hands, your fingers were moving through viscous liquid. Right, so they get nice and spread out. Good, and circle the other way. Good, and then just give them a gentle shake. All right. Put your hands back on your lap, and we're just going to do just a very gentle neck stretch. So you're sitting, again, away from the back of the chair, but if you get tired, feel free to move back so that you have that support. All right, so sitting up tall, shoulders over the hips, right, your knees right over your feet, and imagine the crown of your head is growing an inch taller, and take a breath, and just very gently bow your chin towards your chest, keeping your shoulders nice and soft. Right, so it's not a forceful movement with the chin coming down, it's just that little bowing forward. And relax your face, relax your jaw. And take a nice big breath into the back of your neck where you're feeling that stretch. Breathing in. Good, and breathing out. And then keeping your chin low, you're just gonna roll your right ear towards your right shoulder. And it doesn't have to go all the way. What you're doing is looking for a nice stretch on the left side of your neck, right? And you might give a little nod of your head. Again, keeping the eyes soft, cheeks soft. And then you're gonna roll your chin back down to center. Good, and if you were closing your eyes, just make sure you open your eyes for a moment and just get your bearings looking right down at the ground. And then we're going to take it over to the left side. So it's just a little roll over to the left side, left ear toward the direction of the left shoulder. Right? And then just kind of feel where it feels all right to stay, and then just add some gentle movement. Right? Maybe just a little nod of the head. Right. And then roll the chin back down to center. And then once again, just take a pause. Kind of set your gaze, and then tuck your chin, and you're going to roll your head back up to neutral. Good. Take a big breath, and through your mouth, exhale. Good. Probably sitting an inch taller now. All right, we're gonna work through the arms a little bit, so expanding out our movement. So you're coming into seated mountain pose. So sitting up away from the back of the chair, feet planted on the ground, right, shoulders down and back. Right, and just gonna scoop up the arms. Right, and then just a soft bend in the elbows and just cross what you can over your head. And then when you exhale, you're gonna float the hands back down, bring your chin to your chest. And then scooping back up, maybe you cross the other forearm or hand in front. Good, and then exhale, coming back down. And now this time you're gonna come all the way up to the top. Let your palms touch, and then guide your hands right down in front of your heart. And then you keep your palms pressing as you root down through your feet, grow tall as you go all the way back up, turn the palms away, and exhale, float the hands down. Good, and another little roll of your shoulders up, back, and down. Good, and then moving into the spine. So hands are gonna come right on top of your knees, and you just wanna have a soft curl of the fingers right over the front of your knees. Okay, you sit up nice and tall. And as you slide, you're gonna just lightly slide your hands up the legs until the hands reach the creases of your hips. Elbows are gonna go back behind you as though you're trying to point them toward the back wall. Maybe a little lift of your gaze, opening up the front of your chest. So here you take a breath. And then when you exhale, you're gonna slide your hands back down the legs as you round through the spine. Very gentle round of the spine. And just till the fingers once again curl over the knees. And then inhale, coming back up, lifting the heart. And then exhale, rounding forward. Good, we'll do that 2 more times. Lifting up, full breath. And exhale, round. And then 1 more, inhale. Good, and exhale. Good, and then you're gonna come back up. Spine is gonna stay nice and long. You're gonna start to pitch forward. So you wanna stay with a long, flat back and not rounding toward the ground. You're just tipping forward at the pelvis. So just tip forward as far as it feels comfortable. And then when you come back, you're gonna exhale, round the spine again. Right? So now pitch forward, so you're leaning out over your legs, and then exhale, round. Good. Now this time come forward, and if it feels okay, let your hands come down the front of the legs and just go as far as it feels comfortable to go. You're gonna come all the way back up, and then again, gentle rounding of your spine. Let's do that 1 more time. Lifting up nice and tall, open the chest. Leaning forward, letting your hands just slide down the front of the legs. Good, coming all the way back up. This time, lift your heart. Good, and then just slide back into neutral as you exhale. Good. All right, just take a moment to get your bearings, and I always like to take a moment in transitioning between postures or parts of the body, just so you can develop a sense of just feeling where this movement is landing in your body. Right, developing that body awareness. So we're still working through the spine, so we'll now do a little bit of spinal twisting. Okay, so you're gonna bring your hands down into seated mountain, and then you're gonna lift your arms up overhead. Now you can stop here, right, if your shoulders don't like your arms to go all the way straight. Just go as high as you can, and you're gonna just turn your torso over to the right, and let your hands come down on the side of your right thigh, and turn and look over your right shoulder. Good. And now you're gonna take a breath. Sitting tall, long spine, and you're gonna stay here to exhale. And then breathing in again, breathing full length of your spine, and staying here to exhale. And now start to turn your head, and you're gonna float your arms all the way back up to center, and then twist your torso to the left, and your hands both come down somewhere on top over the side of your left thigh. And you keep going with the head, turning it as much as it feels comfortable over the left shoulder. And then again, take a breath, right up your long spine, and then exhale, and feeling the twist, and breathing in, and breathing out. And then float the arms up, come back to center, let your palms touch, and then glide them back down to the heart. Good, just pause for a breath in, and a breath out. Good. So we have one more movement of the spine to kind of move through, and that's some some lateral movement. We just did rotational movement. So you're going to take your left hand right underneath the seat of your chair, right, or just somewhere where you have some stability, and the right arm is going to come out at a 90 degree, like a half of a cactus. Right? So you're just going to start to lift the arm up, take a little tilt over to the left. Good. And then you're going to come back to center and let the elbow come down, let it float down. And then you're going to breathe in as your elbow lifts. You tilt just a little over to the left, opening up the right side of your rib cage, and then exhale, coming down. Good. Lifting up as you breathe in, side lean, and exhale, and coming down. One more. Lifting up, you're still sitting nice and tall, leaning over to the left. And then all the way back down. Good. So when the right hand comes down, let it find a place underneath the chair or on the side of the chair, just to give you some support. And then the left arm will come into that half cactus shape. And then you're just going to move it up. So you keep a nice bend in the elbow, keeping the shoulder soft, leaning to the right, and then coming back. And just let the elbow come all the way down. And then you're going to lift up, breathe in, curving the spine, and then exhale. All the way down. Good, 2 more times. Breathing in. Feel the rib cage open. Good. And exhale, coming down. Last one, all the way up. Inhale. Good, and exhale, coming down. Good. Let's take just a little shoulder roll, both shoulders. Good, and then this is what I call octopusing your arms. So just kind of shake them out a little bit. Good, beautiful. And just take a moment now and just check in and just notice how the back of your neck is feeling, right? The expanse across your shoulders, right? Maybe you feel like you're sitting a little taller, right? You're aware of the muscles in your back keeping you sitting upright. All right, so I want to move to the front of the chest. So we're going to go back to that cactus shape in the arms, right? And just be careful when you lift your elbows, if your shoulders want to come all the way up to your ears, see what you can do to soften the shoulders down, and that might mean your elbows are down pretty low. Right? So you're sitting tall, feet on the ground. You're going to just bring the elbows back, right? So you're just kind of sliding the elbows and the forearms toward the back wall. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring your hands together and see if you can bring your elbows toward each other. And then you're going to open, breathe in, and exhale. You're going to close. And when you close, you're pulling your shoulder blades apart. You're creating that nice space across the back. Inhale to open the heart. And then exhale to open the upper back. Good. One more full breath. Good. And exhale. And then you come back to center. You're going to keep your palms together. Just start to reach them out in front of you. Right? And then pull yourself away from the hands. And you're going to interlace the fingers and bend your elbows so you're starting to bring the hands towards you. And then flip them over and bring the knuckles down and away. So the heels of the hands are facing down and away. You're sitting up nice and tall. Take a big breath. And an open mouth exhale. Keep the clasp of the hands, and you're just going to start to bring the arms up over to the right side, breathing in. Good. And then exhale back to center. And then up and over to the left side. Good, and back to center. Good, reach the arms forward. You're going to bend the elbows so you can release the fingers. Turn the palms up, bring the palms out, all the way up toward the sky. Good. And then hands come back to your heart. Right? Again, a little pause. Just adjust through your neck, your shoulders. Once again, feeling your feet against the ground. And then the hands are going to stay pressing together. You're going to once again reach in front of you. You're going to lift the hands up, and you're going to start to slide them over toward the right. Lean your torso a little forward, so maybe the back of the hand or the back of the wrist. Find some place to rest on the right knee. And then you're going to keep that pressing, that left hand and the knee pressing, and you're going to lift up. Imagine you had big eagle wings. You're going to open up to the sky, and then exhale, close. Good. So another little twist, and you're combining that with opening up through the chest, through the heart. Good, and exhale. Good, let's do one more. Nice, big, open wingspan. Good, and then coming back. And then you back up to center, take a pause, and then you're gonna twist to the other side. So your torso leans out and forward a little bit, back of the right hand somewhere in contact with your left leg. And then again, opening up that big wingspan, right? And just go as high as it feels okay to go in your shoulder, right? And then exhale. Right? So imagine actually that the breath, right, is pulling the arm up toward the sky. Good, and then the breath pushing back down. Good. And inhale up. Good, exhale and close. You're gonna come back up to center and then bring your hands right again in front of your heart. Right? And this gesture of the hands coming together is just a very balancing the energy, right? It's a symbol of wholeness, completion, and balance. Right? It can be very soothing. So this is something pretty easy you can tuck in your back pocket so that if you're feeling tense, right, you're sitting in traffic, right, as long as you're in a safe place, putting your hands together right in front of your heart and taking a few deep breaths, right, will do a lot to calm you down. All right, so we're gonna move to the lower body. So you're gonna move your feet and your legs out, right? And you might need to move a little bit on your chair here. And just go wide enough, the toes are gonna angle outward, but that you still feel comfortable through the inner thighs. Right? And you're gonna rest your hands on top of the thighs. And we're gonna do shoulder dips. So the left shoulder is gonna lift up, and then you're gonna turn and look over to the right and just dip down, left shoulder toward your right knee. And then come back up, and then right shoulder lifts, and you're gonna dip down toward the left knee. Good, come back to center, one more on each side. Left shoulder dips. Good, and come back to center, and right shoulder. Good, and now back to center, and you can leave your hands on top of the knees here. You're just gonna start to lift up onto the balls of your feet, right? Feeling the heels lift. You might feel your calf muscles engage a little bit. You might feel a little bit of a stretch on your inner thighs. Good, and then slowly lower the heels down. Good, inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. So let's do just the left foot. So left foot lifts, good, lower down, and right heel lifts, lower down, and then both together, good, and lower down. Now we're gonna add a little arm movement. So lift the left heel and the right arm is gonna come up into a cactus, good, and then exhale, lower the right hand down. The right heel lifts, left arm comes up, and then exhale all the way down. And you probably guessed it, both arms come up as both heels lift. Good, exhale and lower down. Beautiful. Toe heel your feet a little bit closer together, right? And then you're just gonna open and close the legs, right? Just very soft in the thighs. You might even feel soft in the feet here. All right, and then sitting comfortably, you wanna be away from the back of the chair a little bit. You're gonna take your hands and scoop right underneath your left thigh and see if you can just lift it a little bit away from the floor, right? And then just let your shin, just let it dangle from your knee, let it swing. See if you can just let the foot relax. And then maybe you find some circles. Right? So just working the joints of the knee in a very different way. The knees take a lot of pressure, right? They take a lot of force from our bodies. Right? So this just gives them a little bit of space. Good. And now you're gonna take your hands and you're gonna guide your thigh in circles, right? So start with moving the circles out. Right? Very healthy for your hips, right? To have them move in all directions. All right, and then let's reverse, so go the other way. Good, and now you're gonna keep your foot lifted, just wiggle the right foot over a little bit and see if you can bring your left thigh all the way over your right thigh. And if your hips aren't happy with that, your knees aren't happy with that, you can open it up a little bit so you have some space and it's a little bit easier on the thighs or the hips. Or you could just cross your left ankle over your right ankle, right? So whether you're here, you're in a figure 4, or the thighs crossing over, right? You're gonna sit up tall, right? So just being aware of your abdominal muscles holding up and supporting the core, and the back muscles supporting the full length of your spine. Right? And then interlace your fingers in front of your knee, lifting up. You're going to keep that long spine, just like we did before, and lean out forward. So this should bring a stretch into the back of your hips, right? Into the buttock muscles. Good. So take a breath, and then exhale. You're going to lean out and forward. Good. Inhale. Good. And exhale. Good, coming back up. And we'll go one more time, leaning forward, and then maybe just stay a couple breaths, right? And just breathing into any place that you feel the stretch in your hips, your buttocks, might be a little bit in the low back, right? And then slowly coming back up, you'll take your hands underneath and just scoop the thigh and just give it a little shake. Good, put your foot back down and then just wobble open and close that leg. Good. And when you come back to center, just take a moment and notice the difference between your right leg and your left leg, kind of how they feel. Right? Again, just kind of interoceptive awareness of your body, right? The effect of movement on your body, the effect of breath. And so we're going to go do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to scoop up your leg, right? And you can lean back a little bit and see if you can let the shin dangle and just let it swing. Right? It gives the knee joint a little space. And then do some little circles, one direction a few times. Good, and other direction. And then you're going to move the thigh. So some big circles. Just a few times, going one direction. Good. And then the other direction. Warming up your joints. Good. So the next time that you come around, you're going to pause there and wiggle the left foot over a little bit. See if you can bring it all the way up and over. And again, the same options here for just kind of loosening the leg a little bit, coming into more of a figure 4, or right ankle now over the left ankle. Okay. And again, awareness of sitting up nice and tall, very supported through your back, through the front, heart open. Right, sit up nice and tall, take a breath, and you're going to keep this long spine and you're going to lean out and forward and try to keep your gaze somewhat lifted. As soon as you look toward the ground, you're going to start to round through your spine. And then you're going to come up, nice tall spine, and then exhale, leaning forward. Good. And then lift up nice and tall and leaning out and forward. Good, one more time, and this time we'll stay just for a couple breaths. So come out and forward. Good, and you stop where it feels like you're getting enough of a stretch and a place that you can still breathe. Right, so breathing in and breathing out. And another inhale and exhale. And then you're going to come all the way back up. You take your hands and scoop up your right leg. And then just lean back and give it a couple circles and a couple swings of your shin. Good. And then guide your foot back down to the ground. Good. And then just come back to your seated mountain with your hands on top of your thighs, your knees. Right now, just aware of what the thighs feel like, the spaces inside of your hips, and how you're balanced between left and right sides. Good. Shoulders are dropping down away from your ears. You're still sitting up nice and tall. Take a deep breath. And a soft exhale out from your mouth. Good. All right. So we're going to work the backs of the legs now. So here's where you're going to come a little bit more forward on the chair. And just as a word of caution, just make sure, test yourself, lean forward and make sure that you're going to be stable in your chair. Okay. So we're going to start with your left leg. You're going to slide out the left leg. So you're going to come onto the heel and you're going to flex your left foot. And knee doesn't have to go all the way straight. If it's painful, just keep a little softness. What you're looking for is a stretch down the back of your left leg. Right? Then you're going to sit tall. Your support will be both hands on top of your right thigh, sitting up tall. And again, we're going to keep this long spine, and then you're just going to lean out and forward as you exhale, keeping your left foot flexed. Right? Coming back up, breathing in, and then leaning out and forward, breathing out. Good. Let's do it 2 more times. Lifting up, inhale, and exhale. 1 more time. And exhaling forward. And you come back to center and slowly, slowly slide your left foot back. Good. And then once again, just pause. I feel a very noticeable difference between my right and my left side. So just kind of check that for yourself. Right? And then we'll take it now to the right. So slide your right foot forward. And again, placing your knee, having your knee in a position that's comfortable. The foot is flexed, so that gives you the stretch through the back of your leg. And then your support's going to be your hands on top of your left thigh. So keeping your foot flexed, right? You're using all of your core strength muscles, core muscles. Take a breath, nice length of your spine, and then leaning out and forward. Right? I know it's tempting to want to look at your foot, right? But try to keep your gaze out and forward. Right? Breathing in and breathing out. And I just looked at my foot. Sit up tall, inhale. Good. And exhale. 1 more time. Nice and tall, breathe in, and a long reach forward as you exhale. And then coming all the way back up to center, and then you're going to slowly slide in the right foot, and just take a pause. Right? All the sensations you can feel in your legs now, probably a little bit more aware of your right leg now. Right? And then you're going to open and close the legs again, just to soften through the muscles. Right? Release through your hips. Good. All right. So let's put some of those movements together and we'll do a little flow. Right? So again, if you're new and this doesn't feel like it makes sense in your body, just maybe follow along and just watch this first time around, right? And just do the best you can, right? Just enjoy moving your body, right? And we'll see what happens. So you're sitting with your back away from the chair, sitting up nice and tall, feet planted on the ground. The crown of your head lifted upward, feeling the neck long and your shoulders dropping down away from your ears. We start with a big cleansing breath. So inhale, filling your lungs all the way to the top. And exhale, releasing it away. Good. Seated mountain. You're going to bring your arms up, breathing in. You're going to cross overhead. Cross your hands, cross your forearms, and then exhale, coming down, chin to chest. And then lifting up, you cross. And exhale, and coming down. Scooping the arms up, maybe you reach a little further so you can feel your palms touch. And then hands come to heart center as you breathe out. And reach the arms back up, reach as high as you can go, and turning your palms away and exhale, float the hands down. Roll your shoulders a couple times, up, back, and down. And roll up, back, and down. Good. Arms are going to come into a big cactus. Right? So shoulders away from the ears, elbows soft. Heart lifts as you bring the elbows back, nice and wide through the palms. And then exhale, elbows, forearms, palms come toward each other. And open, full breath. And exhale, elbows, forearms, palms toward each other. Good. 1 more. Good. And exhale. Send the hands out, interlace the fingers, and then you're going to spin the heels of the hands forward, sit up tall, let the hands come down a little bit, and sweep up to the right side as you breathe in. Exhale back to center, and then inhale up and over to the left. And exhale back to center. Good. Bend the elbows softly, softly. Bring the knuckles towards you. You're going to open the hands, bring the arms up, palms touch, and then hands to heart center. Bring the hands forward, sit up nice and tall. We're going to do that little eagle wing. So you're going to lean forward and then reach toward the right, open the right arm. Nice big breath. Open the chest, open your heart. Good. Exhale and bring it together. Sliding up. And then going over to the left side. And big breath. Inhale, open. Good. Exhale, close. I don't know if I did 2 or 1. Open. Good. And close. Good. Coming all the way back to center. Hands rest in front of your heart. Hands come onto the knees. Slide your hands right up to the creases of your hips. Lift your heart. And then exhale, slide your hands down your legs and a gentle curve rounding of the spine, chin to chest. And lift, inhale. And round, exhale. Good, one more lift. And exhale, round. Good, come back to center. Good, one more thing we're gonna do. Arms are gonna come out. Let's have them come out nice and wide, right? And I want you to open your heart and lean forward and imagine you're somebody running toward you that you love, and you're going to scoop them up and give them a big hug, right? And then just maybe do a little side to side. Good, come to center and open your arms again. Lean forward, somebody else that you really love is coming toward you. You're scooping them up in a big hug. Good, and this time take a circle. Nice big hug. Back to center, open the arms. They're nice and wide. All the people that you love, bring them in all the way. Scoop, good, and then circle again. Feels good to get a hug, doesn't it? Open the arms wide, palms toward the sky, and then up toward the sky. Touch your palms, hands come together in front of your heart. Palms resting gently on top of your thighs. Okay, so we're winding down a little bit here. So I'm going to have you scooch back so that your hips are in the back of the chair once again, where you started, so that your spine feels supported. Okay, wherever the hands feel most comfortable, just so that the elbows are soft, your shoulders are soft. And then just let yourself sink into support now. My feet on the ground. Shoulders soft, arms soft, hands and fingers. And again, if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, you might just bow your head forward, let your eyes softly close. And that same offering, if you're not comfortable with your eyes closed, just gazing down at the ground. Right? Trying to draw the energy back inside. And just taking a moment to let all of this movement, all of this breath, and just the kind attention that you've paid to yourself doing this practice, it kind of marinates inside of yourself. And it's a place that your mind might want to wander. And so you'd start to bring it back to noticing your breath. And if it's helpful to, once again, place your hands, one hand maybe over the lower abdomen, one hand kind of up over the chest. Right? Just like you're kind of rocking in a boat, just that gentle rise and fall of the breath coming in and out. And either leaving your hands right where they are, or placing them back in your lap. Just bring your awareness to the muscles of your face, softening across your brow, your cheeks and your jaw, and softening through your neck, And let softness sweep down from the neck across your shoulders into your shoulder blades. And then down your arms into your hands, into your fingers. Aware of the front side of your chest and your belly, particularly if your hands are resting there, feeling your breath move in and out. And now the spine, being able to soften. All of those muscles that support it, up and down the spine, are softening. Gravity working down into the hips. Right? Unclenching the legs so that the thighs soften, your knees, your lower legs, your feet and your toes. So in this moment, just this awareness of your whole body, just feeling relaxed, letting go, maybe in a place of ease. And then just a few more breaths here, and see if you can just let yourself marinate in this softness, in the quiet space around you. And then we start the process of reawakening now. Okay, so very, very slowly opening up your eyes, maybe just a little bit at a time, and just letting the light in gradually. Just as the light spreads out gradually as the sun comes up in the morning. And just starting to bring an awareness into the space around you. Wherever your hands are resting, feeling your palms, feeling your shoulders, the space across your chest, the space across your back. And we'll end with one more big circle of your arms up, all the way up. Take a breath. And let your hands slide down in front of your heart. And once again, we come into this gesture of balance, of wholeness, and completion. Right? There's perfection in a circle. There's balance in a circle. That's why we see it time and time again in nature and time again in this practice of yoga. Right? And then from your heart, you're going to lift your thumbs right up to the center of your forehead, your place of intuition, clear seeing, and knowing. Right? And then we bow, bowing to your own heart, that light that lives within inside of yourself, that essence that makes you uniquely who you are. And may you move through the rest of this beautiful day with grace, with peace, with ease, and joy. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Be well.